far, no. Oh, it is. Well, it's just a black screen.
Welcome to Fourten podcast. Noah, I know you're looking a little confused. It's just a few seconds delayed on the live version, but we are alive. We are here. It's a pleasure to be here. A little later than we normally are, but it's okay. Life happens, and we're here, and we're going to talk about DMV sports, media, and all the soccer here in the area. With me, as always. Well, first, I should introduce myself. I'm your host, Geo Monteroso. With me is my co-host, Mr. Noah Walker. How's it going today, buddy?
Let's go, Gio. It's that time of the week. As always, super pumped up. We've got lots to talk about today. So excited to be here.
Yeah, we definitely have a lot to talk about. But before we dive in, those that are coming in through and joining us, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that comment. And this is live, so please do engage so we can go back and forth on any topics we may be covering. All right, Noah. I think we should start. Normally, we would dive in right into the state cups. While there's a lot going on there, Stewart Cup kicked off. DMV, MDV Cup is still going. Morton Cup is still going. We're gonna touch all that, but first, I want to talk about Super Soccer League. So the league that we're mainly going to be covering, uh, there's a lot going on in the league, right? And I think we should start there on like what's up with the league. What does it look like? What are the latest announcements? Because it's been two huge announcements, and I think that's where we start right there.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. The Super Soccer League, it touches all of the other leagues, right? There's overlap in the UPSL, NPSL, and all of the state cup competitions. So, we all obviously, respect and give coverage to all of those different competitions. The Super League, touches all of those things. And man, what a week it is. I mean, two huge announcements. Maybe I'll let you get into, what we're going to be talking about, but yeah, lots to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's talk about the huge announcements. By the way, this is a new flavor of Liquid Death I've had. I've not had this flavor. It did something weird to my to my glands.
I've got the original flavor of
That's the best
Liquid Death.
flavor. I'm not really big sparkling water drinker, but you know what? Liquid Death isn't bad sometimes.
Yeah, I've got tap water I put into a plastic water bottle here
Oh
in
no,
my
you
home.
got the real original
Yeah,
flavor.
we're fancy.
All right, let's talk about the huge announcement. So this week, the Super Soccer League announced two additions to the Division Two in Maryland, and that is the announcements of MSI and Touch Kings, two huge clubs in the area, two very talented clubs in the area. So what does this mean for the league in your eyes?
Well, first off, it's two huge announcements, but it's the first two, and I'm just going to hint that we're not done yet. There's going to be more teams coming on, and if you're a team, a top team in the area, and you're still considering, it's not too late. We're given this final week until the end of February. We are going to shut it down after that because I got to get the schedules out. I got to get this thing moving. But we are giving teams. I know, winter comes and it'll just take a little while to get it in, but we're giving this time. So if you have a big club and you want to compete with all the best, please do so. But yeah, what a big announcement. MSI Pro and Touch Kings, two sides that, they competed in the UPSL level, did well. MSI were, if I'm not mistaken, the regular season champions. They did rather well in the playoffs as well. Just fell short of advancing through nationals. They also competed in the U.S. Open Cup qualifiers, but they're coming in and they're coming in hot. They're doing it right. They're coming into Division Two, which all new teams will start and go through Division Two. We have a great pedigree of teams that have come through Division Two. I'm looking at you, Ristosi. I'm looking at the Highlanders, the Kickers, Team United, Das Beer Hall. Just to name a few, and these are teams that are super high level, could easily be playing at a division, a top level in any other league, but they said no. We want to play, we want to do things right, we accept that we're going to have to earn our promotion, and that's how it's going to be. So, for anyone who's wondering why are they going, UPSL to Division 2 and the Super Soccer League, is it as the B team? No, no. From our understanding, it's not like that. That's just how our structure is. We have a very real promotion relegation system, and that's it's not just a nominal thing.
Yeah, I think it speaks volumes that the teams are gonna go in and we're like the league, we're holding our, morals to like a merit based, ideology, and that they're gonna come into second division, they're gonna fight for the promotion so they can get into the first division and just create this ecosystem. Right now it's only obviously two divisions, but as the organization grows and pyramid starts growing a little bit bigger, I think keeping that value at its core is huge, and teams buying into it is even bigger, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm really
Well,
excited.
you talked about the U.S. Soccer Pyramid. I know we're going to leave some time later on to talk, but I just want to give notice, for the big announcement that USL put out that they are moving towards a competing league to MLS, a tier one. They're going to be looking to apply for that. But not only that, they have announced that they are putting the process into place for eventual promotion relegation. That's right, a full top-down promotion relegation system here in the U.S., which should coincide beautifully with the World Cup coming to North America. And there's another piece of that where there's potential for college players to be able to play at a professional level. So a whole lot there. I'm not going to get into that now because it's going to totally derail us. But it's great to see at the top the promotion relegation system is coming here, and we're doing our part. Hey, look, you know what I mean? I can't control what the MLS does, but what USL does, but we're doing promotion relegation, and we're looking to continue building it downwards and upwards. Just gonna leave it there. Hinted. We're working on that too.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's important, and I think promotion relegation only works if it's at both a federal and a state level, right? If it's, or I should say, national and state levels. So the fact that USL is doing it is pretty cool. And obviously, for those that don't know, the league is supposed to be going into promotion relegation before the launch of the first division. By the way, because the first league, the promotion relegation is supposed to set in 2027, and the league is supposed to kick off in 2027/2028. So I'll be curious to see how that's going, which is cool. Which is cool. We love promotion relegation. Uh, we love that relegation gives teams that are struggling a second win, and we love that promotion is just team doing its thing, and they get to earn the top flight or top division of whatever organization they're playing for. So I think it's cool. I love it. All right. So we talked about promotion relegation. We talked about the teams being announced, which were huge announcements. I think MSI Pro is going to be a phenomenal team to watch out for. Touch Kings is also a UPSL side, very strong. I love the branding Touch Kings has, by the way. Just
Both
little
sides are
favoritism on that.
so in touch with their community and their fan
Yes,
base, and I mean that's things we've been begging for. We've been craving, and those are two sides that it's not lip service. We see them. You see that at their games they have fans. They're giving their fans the attention they deserve. It's really exciting.
for sure. I'm really looking forward to seeing what those game day atmospheres are going to look like. I'm already thinking we're going to see some rivalries grow out of these teams joining. I'm definitely looking at Slancha, right? Slancha is going into this season as like the potential favorites of getting that promotion spot, but MSI Pro is coming with some serious heat, and I'm pretty sure Touch Kings as well.
Yeah, I mean the swagger that and they do it both of these sides. They do the swagger without being cocky at all. Like they talk with like a I don't know how to say it. They talk like just asking about what the top team is with just sheer like what happens for the top team. What happens if you're the team that blows everyone out of the water, and they're not doing it like we will be, but
Right.
also we're reading between the lines. Like they're obviously interested in that, and that lets me know like they're not like just putting some kind of like B team in here. Like they're gonna be some players playing in the Super Soccer League. I'll just leave it at that.
Which we absolutely love. So we're definitely looking forward to Division Two. But Division Two is not the only ones kicking off, right? We have a Division One in Virginia, and then Division One in Maryland as well. can we dive into what the divisions are going to look like? If you mind taking over that section.
Yeah, absolutely. Division One in Maryland. There's going to be 7 teams, so it's Steel Pulse, Das Beer Hall, Baltimore Kickers, the A3 Highlanders, Team United. Um, I think that's 5, and then the 2 promoted teams: Bowley's Athletic, who had a phenomenal cup run, and then
Yeah.
Ambition, who earned their way into promotion from the playoff, the Division Two playoff. So those 2 new teams, and then we'll get into there's the league structure in a second, but there's 7 teams in Virginia right now. There's likely to be an 8th officially announced, this coming week, and possibly more. But those 7 teams are Virginia Dream, the North Stars, Berryville, Los Toros, Great Falls, Los Toros, Alexandria United, um, and of course Blazers FC, LAIFC, and Doratus FC. Doratus also will be playing in the UPSL, as will Alexandria United, Los Toros, Virginia Dream, but they're going to do both, kind of joint squads. So those are the 7 in Virginia. In Maryland, it's going to be a bit of a different structure for Division One. Can I touch on that?
Yeah,
The
go
structure?
for it. Go for it.
Yeah, so it's going to be 7 teams, which, if you've ever made a schedule before, that that doesn't make an easy round 10-game schedule. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go full, each team plays each other team 6 times. Sorry, twice. Twice. There's 6
That's
of
a
them.
long season, no?
Yeah, that'll be full on. No, it's going to be a 12-game season. So everyone plays everyone twice. No playoffs, just straight Premier League style. So the team that is the top team at the end of the season is your, Maryland Super Soccer Conference, Super Soccer League champion, and then the runner-up is, also recognized. And there is going to be some a third place recognition on the table. There's going to be a small amount of prize money for the the bronze, just to keep all the teams active and interested, because there is no playoff anymore. But it really just like from the moment the season kicks off, it's go time. It's not like
Yep.
you can coast and just get into the playoff and have a run. Like, no, it's every game has merit. Promotion, relegation. There's also the teams at the bottom on notice. We got these really strong teams coming up. There has to be room made, and so I think this is going to be a season where there's not going to be a lot of dead weight games. It's going to be, super
I
important.
think I think that's so exciting, right? Like that like everyone loves the promotion conversation, but I really enjoy the relegation conversation because like teams will those games when it comes down to the wire where it's like if I don't win this game, I'm getting relegated. It just
Yeah.
starts to add animosity and tensions to the game and a real feeling like we need to perform. Like we really need to perform. Obviously, the winners do too. Um, to win the title is obviously the same thing, but it's just a lot more on the line when it's relegation. I feel. And then also if you do get relegated, again, it's a second win to go in a second division, get yourself figure things out, and then and hopefully fight for that promotion to come back. So I'm really excited for this. I don't what I don't know, Noah, even though I've been in all the conversations, and I forgive me if I've missed this, but does the regular season champion go on to play the playoff champion for Virginia?
Correct. So the Super Cup championship will still be in effect. So there is still a playoff, if you will, but
Well,
it's a one
playoff
game
match.
playoff. It's a one game playoff. Yeah, Virginia. We haven't had any conversation that anything's going to be any different. So as we understand, it's still going to be that 4-game kind of playoff. And the future, we're not wed to this for the future. Like with the lack of, we're going to see how this goes. We may make some structure changes going forward, but this was the number of teams. This is the best fit for what we're trying to do. There was conversations about teams getting rewarded for excellence over the longevity and the duration, and so
Yeah.
this was a perfect fit. We're going to see how it goes. If you're a fan and you're hearing and you absolutely hate this league structure, we're listening. Feel free to make it known, and we'd love to hear feedback throughout the season as it goes. We're trying to get this right. We're going to make mistakes along the way, but yeah, we're excited to try this out and see how it fits.
I mean, this is a juicy season coming up in the spring, right? Like Virginia is we saw what happened last year with Virginia. Virginia was very fun, especially in the playoffs. So I'm excited to see if there is or when there is new blood injected. I think it's going to be fun. It livens things up, but I don't know which conference or division I'm more looking forward to. It's very spicy. That second division, man. It's exciting, man. It's exciting. I love the first division. It's going to be so competitive, but that second division, that promotion fight.
Well, the thing about the Super League that I love, and we know this, but maybe some others don't if you're watching, we give the same level of coverage. Not like we say we're going to give the same level of coverage, like the same, you're going to see every single Division 2 game live streamed with the same coverage on social media, same highlights, etc., etc. So I'm glad because, as the person who gets to see all the video and help, coordinate all the live streaming, I'm probably gonna assign myself to some of those Division 2 games. Like that's real. That's the reality. When I have time, I'm gonna try to make it up and specifically come and see some of these games. So um, yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'd love to touch on the structure for Division 2 because it's gonna be a little different from Division 1 if we have time for that.
Sure, yeah, yeah. Just one last thing because you mentioned that the coverage is going to be the same for the for both the divisions. Also, we unified the social media pages, so there's only one page. It's the Super Soccer League or Super SL underscore official, and it's just to have all the content from Division One in or the Virginia side and the Maryland side because we just want to have people understand that this is one league, right? This is one organization, and we want to have all the content in one place. Now, whether Division Two and Division One stays on that, will we're working things out. But the as of Maryland and Virginia, there's no separation. We are one league, and we want to make sure that branding comes across. So you will, if you are following us, you are going to be spoiled with content from both. You will see the highlights, you will see the goals, and there are going to be goals. So I am very looking forward to that social media page if you're following. But yeah, go. Let's talk about the structure for Division Two.
Sure. So Division 2, the playoff structure is going to be as followed. There's going to be a regular season champion, much like Division 1, where the top team from the regular season, who's the best for the duration for, has the regular season record, is going to be automatically promoted. They will, be crowned regular season champion with a trophy and the accolades to go, but the season's not done, right? There's a second promotion spot available. So the next four teams are going to get to play towards that second promotion spot. So it'll be the second place team playing the fifth place team, and the third playing the fourth place team in a semifinal and then a final. And the winner of that final will also be promoted, and of course will be recognized, but on a slightly smaller scale, right? Because the number one team didn't get to play in playoffs. Additionally, the number one team from the regular season will have an opportunity towards the Summer Copa, and ostensibly, if we keep this structure going in the fall, then the number one, the top team for the fall, would get to play to have a chance to compete for that MDV Cup, which we generally only offer to our playoff Division One teams. We're going to give, we're ironing out the details, but we're going to put a path for that top team to gain, which is unprecedented. And the path was actually paved by Bowley's Athletic this winter. They were the Division Two champions. They technically shouldn't have qualified for it, but we had a space that became available in the cup. And they were the best. I watched these games and I knew they were the best team eligible for it. And they really proved, thank God, that I didn't make a mistake on that one. Like they went quite far, narrowly losing a heartbreaker to a super talented Aegean Hawks side, 4-3. Credit to the Hawks and their experience, but I think even the Hawks will admit the Bowleys made a really good showing, good account of themselves in the cup, going all the way to the quarterfinals.
Yeah, our favorite Cinderella story did come to an end, but it was such a good run for them, right? And they ripped open the door, and I'm hoping that League Two teams, looking at MSI and Slancha, really, to follow, right? Because
Yeah.
that's it's such a big steps to follow because they had such a great run in MDV Cup. Anything else you want to touch on Super Soccer League before we move over to the state cups?
No, I mean we're going to be getting to talk on this. It will kick off March 23rd for in Maryland, and I believe it's the 17th of. Don't quote me on that. It's a Tuesday of the week of the March 17th, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're going to kick off. Virginia Dream will not be playing the first week. They'll be in
It's
the
the
Open
18th.
Cup. I hope we get to talk about that as well. But yeah, lots more to come. Super excited. We've got the most talented teams in the league that we've ever had, and we've got more announcements coming. So just stay tuned. If you haven't followed our Instagram, please do so. It's well worth it. I promise.
And if you are not subscribed to YouTube, make sure you do because that's where you're going to get all the matches, right? Like we're talking about the coverage, that's where you're going to watch them. And if your team is playing close to you, why not check them out? Why not check them out? Atmosphere, people. All
Yep.
right, let's move over to the state cup. Uh, let's start with the MDV Cup. So while Morton Cup had some games, go ahead.
Can we start with Stewart Cup just because I feel like
Sure.
Morton MDV Cup and Morton Cup will be tying into we'll just transition that into so we just because Stewart Cup's going to go on ice for a little while.
It's only one weekend. All right, fine. Stewart
Yeah.
Cup, Stewart Cup. So we had it kicked off on midweek, midweek on a cold Friday 19. We had two matches. We had Baltimore Kickers versus Christos, ended in 8-0. I don't think there's much to say there. Unfortunately, just a tough game for the Kickers. Anything you wanna point to that? I really I don't
No, just
think so.
Christos being Christos. I mean that was
Yeah.
what we expected. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was a long day for the Kickers and the cold, and it was just an excellent informed Christos. So, hey, much respects to Christos for moving forward, knocking out one of three Super Soccer League teams in the Stewards Cup. And then the other semifinal was Steel Pulse versus Das Beer Hall, which I think was probably I'm gonna say probably my favorite match of the week and weekend, the past weekend. I think so. It was a 3-2 win for Das Beer Hall over Steel Pulse. Noah, what was your reaction? I mean, I
Oh
saw
man,
it, but
how do I even put this into words? It was the sweet taste of revenge for Dust Beer Hall, right? They've had a tough cup season coming off of a tough loss. So they went undefeated in the Super Soccer League in the Maryland Conference all through. They were the darling, the Cinderella story. I mean, they had a perfect season, even knocking off Steel Pulse in the regular season.
right,
They went through the playoffs. They beat the Kickers in the semifinals, and then they got Steel Pulse. And Steel Pulse found a way to be the Steel Pulse of old. They had so much talent on that pitch that day. They blanked Das Bierhoff, early and often. It was 3-0. It wasn't, a blowout, but Steel Pulse always felt kind of in control. So that was a big letdown for Das Bierhoff. Then Winter Cups happened. I don't think Das Bierhoff had their best showing. They got quick entry or exit to the MDV
yep,
Cup. And here we go to Wednesday night. It's another showing against Steel Pulse, one of the eminent powers. Right from the jump, we saw Das Beer Hall. They came ready. They came prepared. They warmed up. They had energy and communication buzzing on the really cold night. Steel Pulse, they looked cool, calm, and collected. It wasn't, it was kind of normal from them. But Das Beer Hall struck first. But that wasn't what really surprised or excited me about this game. It was when Steel Pulse came back, as we knew they would. Steel Pulse,
yeah.
they do often start slow, but they find their way back into these games. Das Beer Hall was so organized. They were so prepared. They didn't lose that momentum. I was just kind of gawking at the communication among the back line. Goalkeeper JP Furman came out,
Yeah, you were.
absolute ringer. I don't know where they found this guy because he's not their normal goalkeeper, but he was phenomenal in the game, and they really showed themselves to be. It was almost like they showed themselves to be a top team, and then they kind of like dropped. I'll admit I was showing some doubt of the beer hall in my predictions and the like, but yeah, they're back on the radar. And by the way, those two teams are going to be National Amateur Cup qualified. There's going to be two Maryland qualifiers. So Das Beer Hall and Christos have already qualified. They will still play a Stewart Cup final,
Final.
the Maryland Stewart Cup final, but they're both qualified.
So I want to say something about Das Beer Hall. So we saw Steel Pulse turn it around, start to turn it around. We saw them applying the pressure, becoming the Steel Pulse, the that we typically see, right? And they scored, and then Das Beer Hall scored, then Chris Steel Pulse scored, and then Das Beer Hall scored. But the organization that Das Beer Hall's backline had, when you were talking about you were in awe, he was literally in awe. He stepped off the mic to watch them for a little bit off camera because they were just something special to watch.
Locked
Uh,
in. Locked in.
the communication was fantastic. They were lockdown defense. Anytime Steel Pulse got in, they were fantastic. I don't think we got to see Ramsey Hassan and Yusuf Nazir do what they normally do because of that defense. Anytime they were on the ball or in their final third, they were locked down, and they were any shot that was taken, it was either under pressure or being blocked, which was such a beautiful thing to watch. And then to have a keeper in that form, it was a beautiful thing from Das Beer Hall. I was also in awe, but um, one of us couldn't be in awe. We couldn't both be in awe at the same time, so we were
Right.
just
You
taking
had to work.
turns.
I got to go and
And then
do my,
when we took turns, and then I was quiet for a little.
do
It
my
was just a
fanboying
good
off.
game.
Yeah, it was a great performance. And even in, that organization, Sean Ostrowski found a way to get forward from, that wingback kind of role. He worked on both sides of the goal. He was, for me, if you had to choose one player, he's my man of the match. But you pointed out, what about the whole back line and goalkeeper? So yeah, that would be, if you're gonna cheat, that would be, I guess, the man of the match. But as one player, I think Sean Ostrowski made a
I
really
mean, I
strong
guess it
showing.
is called man of the match, but it's fine. I would agree. I think he had a fantastic game, and his contributions on both sides of the field gives no reason why he shouldn't be a picked, right? So I agree. So we are going to see, as we mentioned, Stewart Cups is going to take a weekend off. There is going to be a final between Christos and Das Beer Hall. It's going to be on May 2nd at 11 a.m. at Cedar Lane, field number 6. And, uh, if you're going to check it out, this is definitely a game to check out. I think it might be the only game that weekend, if I'm not mistaken. So I definitely recommend you checking it out if you can, and if we don't get to stream it.
We will. MSSA has all the state cup finals will be live
Oh,
on
right.
the
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it is March 2nd. You said.
Yep. March 2nd. Yep. March 2nd at 11 o'clock. And then, so congratulations to Christos and Das Beer Hall for the National Amateur Cup. I think this is, I don't think people understand how important the National Amateur Cup is because, aside the fact that you get to play some phenomenal teams, right? I think some of the biggest brandings in the East Coast and biggest teams and historical teams, they're heavily trying to get into this National Amateur Cup. So it's really such a good opportunity to go play these teams, get to know these teams. It's just a good opportunity. And then obviously it's a big deal if you ended up winning it. I mean, look at Christos. It has set up Christos both financially and historically by winning these national amateur cups. So it definitely something to look out for. All right, let's move on to MDV Cup. Oh, do you want to do Norton's first? Norton Cup first.
No, let's do MDV Cup first, and then we'll get into Morton.
Okay, so MDV Cup, we had 4 games on February 16th. It feels really far away at this point, but it's just a weekend away, or in the past. And we had 4 games. I'm just gonna run through the scores, and then we can, if actually we let's start with this. The easiest one is Rastosi and Team Orange. They obviously Rastosi got the win because of the forfeit from Team Orange. Then there's nothing to say there, right? We didn't get to see Rastosi. We will get to see Rastosi.
Don't forfeit if you've entered the cups. Don't forfeit. Don't
Yes.
forfeit. Shame on you, Orange. But
it's true.
Rastosi,
It's true. It
Rastosi
is true. You should not
they're
forfeit.
the team that earned it. They're a strong team. So But yeah, don't forfeit if you enter the cups.
Please
That's
don't
all I
forfeit. We
got.
love
Please
games. Please don't forfeit.
respect the integrity of the game. That's all.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, uphold your commitments. Uh, Teams that did uphold their commitments were Christos and Esperion, who were the second game of the weekend, which ended up being a 4-0 win for Christos. It sounds bad, but I don't think it was that bad. Like
No,
we were
I had a lot of people text me and said, who is this Experian team? Or, that was a
right.
good showing. Like it was, I mean, I'm not saying that they should have won the game, right? Christos were better. That's facts. But Christos, as we've seen, it's gotten a lot more out of hand than four nothing. Just ask the kickers. And it's actually gotten worse than 8-0. I promise you, I've seen worse than 8-0 too. Yeah, there's just levels to it. There's levels to it. Christos are next level. Esperion, they're a team that's growing, and so I think that they will continue to. There's a lot of good things on the horizon for them. But yeah, it in terms of the better team, it was straightforward, but there was a lot of positives.
I think there's a lot of good signs for Esperion. I think Esperion had a great cup showing. It shows what this team is about. It introduced people to this team, and I think there's a lot of good things waiting for this team. Obviously, they still need to develop their roster a little bit. They're one of the newer teams. I think this sets up Esperion for a good position, especially depending on where they play next year. It could help them even more, and I think that would be, pick wisely because the competition you surround yourself is only going to set you up even better for the next winter when you get to do these, or the summer Copa if they decide to apply for that. Um, or like I said, the Winter Cups next this later next year or earlier next year. So I think this is a good showing. But again, Christos, that's crazy that Christos had 12 goals in a matter of 4 days. It's
Yeah,
wild,
the
wild.
consistency is what separates them, right? Like on
Yeah,
some days we see Steel Pulse like with great showings, and on some days Steel Pulse even can hang with Christos, but then we see, again, and it was not about Steel Pulse bad. It was about Das Beer Hall good on Wednesday, but there is still a level of just inconsistency of fluctuation that happens, and maybe this is a good segue because Steel Pulse will be tested on the quick turnaround on how are they going to be the team we saw against Los Toros on Sunday, or are they going to be the way they showed up, on Wednesday, which was 5 minutes before the kickoff, kind of just calm and whatever, and immediately going down 2-0. That's going to be a real test because at their best, they can hang with Christos. Anything less than their best, it's going to be a multi-goal loss. There's just no two ways about it.
yeah. So as you mentioned it, the third game of Sunday was Toros versus Steel Pulse. Steel Pulse ended up getting the win 2-1. It was a very tight affair. Steel Pulse very did I think that's the best I've seen them play in this tournament was against Los Toros. And if they plan to make it anywhere near the final, they need to play like this. They cannot do what they did against Das Beer Hall. One of the questions where I asked you last week was, what Steel Pulse are we going to see? And I mean, they need to bounce back relatively quick again from their form against Das Beer Hall. Das Beer Hall played phenomenal. They did not play phenomenal. I mean, they tried to mount a counterattack and all that, but just I mean, it just wasn't good. It wasn't good. And then here you had the opposite story. Again, Los Toros against them, Los Toros was the one that was losing their temperament. They were the ones. I think it was 2 red cards for them by the end of the game, and Steel Pulse. They were not affected by anything Los Toros did. They were there to play their game. They were there to win. Mind you, that's Coach Mumford's first win in Virginia, so he was absolutely buzzing after the game. But it was a different Steel Pulse. They were focused. They didn't allow them to get their game turned around or changed, regardless of what Los Toros did. So Steel Pulse needs to bring that version of themselves against Christos this weekend.
And it does come down somewhat to personnel. I noticed there was no Emmanuel Oluwesi on Wednesday. There was no Musa Kande. I mean, those are two players that played a huge role in that victory on Sunday that were not present on Wednesday. So, it's amateur soccer. You can't fully blame it on, which players you have available or not. It still has to be a team, but those are going to be two guys that, are going to have a
Impact players.
big appearance, a big leadership role, even against Christos if they want to have a chance.
Yeah, but I mean, you're 100% right. But I mean, just as like attitude or mentality, it has to be the latter, right? Not not showing up 5 minutes before the game. They
Yeah.
have to be early. They have to be prepared. I mean, it's Christos. I know they're gonna do it, but I'm just telling them like, hey, this is what they should do. I think it's going to be the difference. All right, let's talk about. We kind of briefly talked about this. I don't know if you have anything else to say, but the final game of the weekend for the MDV Cup was Aegean Hawks' victory over Bowleys. It was a 4-3 win. I think this was the most exciting game, and also the which felt I forgot that the lights went out against us in the Steel Pulse game. It was so much happened that with that night. I totally forgot about that. It just felt later, so that's why this game felt the longest. But it was probably the most entertaining for me. Well, any final thoughts on that game?
On the final game, I mean, Bullies, at times, I think they looked the better team. They had buzz and energy. The Aegean Hawks, though, to their credit, they showed why they are a team with national championships, with all sorts of accolades over a long period of time with veteran players. They hung on. They did not get rattled at all. They found a way to get the ball into the box at the end of the game. They found a way, to equalize. They found a way to get another penalty kick. There was multiple penalty calls. Whether you agree or not, they found a way to get in those positions, and they found a way to win the game when maybe they weren't having their best showing of all time. Right? That's just what
Yeah.
veteran teams do. Bullies, they're going to learn their lessons. They're going to come back stronger for it. But yeah, a little part of me did hurt. I have to be honest. A little part of me hurt because of the whole Cinderella showing, but I think there's positives to be taken.
Yeah, I mean, Aegean Hawks is a classic, historical team that knows how to win, and they have the accolades to prove it, and they they fought until the very last minute to get this win, and I mean, you can't turn it off against teams like this, right? If you even turn it off a little bit, this is what happens, and it sucks that Bowley's Cinderella story ended, but it's such a good story. Like they should only walk out of this tournament with their heads held high and look forward to the season coming up because they're gonna play Division 1 because they earned the promotion. So they're gonna get to sharpen their teeth against some of the best teams in the area, and then they could prove it again if they place properly for the Summer Copa, or they'll wait for the fall. So there's nothing but good opportunities for them to really sharpen that toolbox for the next go around in the State Cup. So hey, props to you and congratulations to Aegean Hawks. There is a I didn't get to see it, but someone was saying hi in the chat. It was Mark. I didn't get to see the last name.
Oh, Mert, Mr. Mert, the
Oh, Mert.
Turkish goalkeeper extraordinaire, former Virginia Dream, I could go down the list, but now with Arlington SA. What's up, Mert? Good to see you. I got to talk to you this week. Phenomenal goalkeeper, one of the best in the area. And goal music supposed to get back. Oh, if you're talking about the goal music I play after some of the goals get scored, I think I did it for some of the NPSL. I would love to get that. I need to get another vehicle. It's a little tough for me to bring my music box out right now, but that is heard. Suggestion heard. I'll try to get the goal music back when feasible.
I just wanted to make sure I saw it pop up in the corner of my screen, so, but it just went away. So my bad, Mert. I did meet you this weekend, but it was a pleasure. All
Did
right,
you met Mert?
I'm pretty sure I met him, right? I was at the games.
No, he hasn't been. He plays for Arlington SA.
Oh, Arlington. I heard something else. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I haven't met you. I will meet you.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's talk about real quick. Go through the semifinals because we still have to talk about the Morton Cup. So semifinals is going to be Ristosi versus. Here's a fun question: Ristosi versus Aegean Hawks at 1 o'clock this Sunday, so tomorrow, and then the earlier game is going to be Christos versus Steel Pulse at 11 o'clock this Sunday or tomorrow. Which of these two games are you looking forward to the most?
Oh man, Well, I guess the only one that I'll actually get to watch in person live. Steel Pulse Christos. I don't. There's just like, can I can I not answer? I don't. There's just like two games that I'm excited about for entirely different reasons. One, the storied Christos Steel Pulse rivalry that continues. It's a derby. I mean, that's the top as far as Maryland derbies go. That's it. That's the one. I mean, there's no other one that comes close. They're the two best teams that have been doing it for the longest. Um, and Steel Pulse do need it to be a win in order to kind of start to reclaim that rivalry versus like one team dominating. Yes, Steel Pulse got the Roland Cup last year, but that's seen a little bit of a waning importance in terms of like qualification for among the other cups. So I'm really excited about that. But Ristosi against the Gian Hawks. It's a similar storyline to the Bullies versus Hawks. Young team versus an established team. First time these two have ever matched up. Pretty sure. I'm 99% sure
Yeah,
about that.
same.
Yeah, but I'm super excited to see. Are we gonna do picks now? Or are we gonna let's do picks all at the same time when we go through the Morton Cup? Yeah.
Yeah, we could do picks. We could definitely come back to it. I just want to say, for me, Ristosi versus Gian Hawks is like the new school versus the old school, right? That's what how I view this one. And then Christos and Steel Pulse, I definitely do see it like a Maryland derby. The only team I would put in front of Steel Pulse as a derby that once was that no longer is would have been Bobcats or World Class
Sure.
Premier when they were one organization. If you didn't know this, World Class Premier gave birth to Bobcats. So the World Class Premier that won the that entered the UPSL that ended up rebranding to become the Bobcats was the original World Class Premier team, and that's where Bobcats came from. But I digress. That Bobcats versus Christos get matches were always super exciting to watch. But obviously, Steel Pulse was right there with them, and it was this is for me a very important derby. I think I agree with you. Steel Pulse needs to win this if they want to continue to call this a rivalry. If they don't, it's starting to lose some importance because they don't play in the same league anymore. The only time they meet is in these state cups, so these games are starting to mean more if these two teams want to still be competing eye to eye.
Yeah. I mean, you pulled out the Bobcats. How far back are we going to take this? I mean, we could talk about the Baltimore Canton Irish.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's like a lot of teams, historic teams. I mean, I wish Deuce Vita was still here or
Yeah,
Pompeii. Man, that would have been. Someone needs to rebirth Pompeii. How about that?
yeah. I would.
Anyways, go ahead.
Let's talk Morton Cup. I just saw our friends Baltimore City FC into the chat. Uh, Mert, we're gonna come back. That's a question we'll have to table for a minute, but let's talk Morton Cup because we're getting into the thick of it.
You know what? Baltimore City is here. Is a perfect segue into this. Um,
Yes,
so this weekend or this past weekend, or sorry, this Wednesday,
Wednesday.
we got to see the semifinals. Did we even talk about the quarterfinals? Uh, I'll
No, we
mention
haven't.
this. I'll mention this. We saw some big teams get knocked out of well, I say big teams. We saw Etihad get knocked out of the quarterfinals, and for me, the reason I mention that is because Etihad was in such great form. They were playing some great soccer, and them getting knocked out it was tough, and it was against a good team. It was against a good team, and I mean, they would go on to do another another big victory. So, oh, why did I unclick this? Oh, I just closed myself out of here. Sorry about that, y'all. So let me go through the scores for the quarterfinals so we know what teams got knocked out and what the the promotion or the teams that qualified to the semifinals were. So Baltimore City knocked out Etihad, as I mentioned, and
In penalties, right?
it was in PKs. Yeah, it was a 3-3 tie, and it was one for Etihad and three for Baltimore City. I don't know. What I was gonna say. Anyways, the other game was a 1-0 win for Solange over Lions. Then it was Anne Arundel County FC versus Silver Springs United. It was a 1-0 win. I told you Silver Springs United was a good team because we know who ACFC is, right? Some of the players that make up that are players from MSI Pro. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
I've heard that. I can't confirm because I haven't actually seen it, but that's the
that's
word on
what
the
I
street.
heard.
There's a
Right.
strong showing of MSI pro players within this ACFC team that's
And
playing this
Silver
week.
Springs United did well against them. And then the final game, the final quarter finals game was Moco 1776 knocking out A3 Highlanders with a 3-1 victory, which is another Super Soccer League team that got knocked out. So Etihad and Highlanders were the Super Soccer League representatives that were knocked out. Then we move on to a quick turnaround to a Wednesday. Anything you want to talk about the quarterfinals before we move on to the semifinals?
Yeah, for once we got something kind of right, but Baltimore City, I think if I remember correctly, you, myself, and Alfred, we talked about that we didn't see their very best in the group stage, right? They barely eked through. They actually had to get some help from Slancha in that final match just to qualify. And we talked about, will they advance even past the quarterfinal or very far? But I think all three of us, rarely do we get all of us get it right, but we got it right. We said I think we've seen, we haven't seen the best from Baltimore City, and they've certainly found their footing here in the knockout stages.
I want to say one of us predicted a tie. I don't remember who, but I want to say it was a PK shootout that was going to see him
That's
through. I
probably why
really
Alfred's
do
not
want to
here.
say that, but now after this, I'm going to go back and look because I really feel like I heard that for this game, but I don't remember who said it. Um, but yes, Baltimore City has definitely turned it on, and in the semifinals, I'm going to move on to the semifinals. The first game was Baltimore City with a big win over Moco 1776. Mind you, a UPSL side versus a EPSL side. And it was a 5-1 win for Baltimore City. They definitely turned it on. It's definitely night and day from the group stage, right? And I think this is going to be a huge matchup for Baltimore City in the finals because the other semifinals, unfortunately, we got to see Slancha get eliminated from the cup, which was the final Super Soccer League officially Super Soccer League team, which is they lost 4-1 against ACFC, and it's a tough matchup. Slancha, from the match report we saw, it was they had outshot ACFC, but they just weren't finishing, and ACFC Inarano made it count when they had their opportunity. So it's a 4-1
Clinical.
win for them. Anything you want to say on the semifinals?
Yeah, I think Slancha kind of did the opposite of what Baltimore City did in terms of they were hot in the group stage. They kind of petered out in the knockout round. Even that 1-0 win against Lions, I understand it
Lions.
was an own goal. That took them past Lions, and then not a strong showing, but a good wake up call. Right, they're getting a little preview of what MSI is gonna or could potentially bring to the Super League, and then what they'll need to do, right, if they want promotion, if they want to compete at that level. Maybe in some ways, as like with the Bullies game, there's some positives to be taken if they're able to show their character and take it the right way. But yeah, all the credit to the teams that are in the finals. It sounds like we've got the most deserving teams.
Yep.
ACFC with their really strong roster, and Baltimore City turning it on when it absolutely mattered the most. Um, some of us were at the I'm looking at the chat. Baltimore City says they were at the Slancha game in that group, the final group stage match, cheering them on against Starliners to
I,
send them
I'm
in.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I would have loved to have seen a Baltimore City Cilantro matchup. Right? We saw it earlier in the group stages. I would have loved to see it just for the storytelling aspect. Them to play again in the final, but that didn't happen. Unfortunately, Slancha didn't do what they needed to do. ACFC made it through, and I think I could think we can go into picks. Let's start with this one.
Yeah,
Well,
but you
why
talking
not
about
start
Morton
with
Cup
this one?
final, yeah?
Yeah, Morton Cup final. Who you have? Baltimore City or ACFC?
What a tough
And the
pick.
heat is on because Baltimore City's in the chat.
Yeah, but that doesn't deter me. I I will pick always whatever I'm thinking, on all honesty, versus whatever pressures, friendships,
No,
dopamine.
no,
It
it
doesn't.
just
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
it fun.
But it's tough because the reason it's tough is not because of the pressure. It's because I haven't gotten to see any of these games, and I see all of the MDV Cup. Even then I still get those wrong sometimes. But I haven't gotten to actually
Wow.
see any of these matches. But I can kind of judge from the results. I think even if it's MSI Pro players with ACFC, it's still not them playing under their own badge, right? And there has to be something said with playing for the badge, playing for your club, right? Baltimore City, it sounds like they're starting to, maybe draw on some of their roster players that they maybe didn't have available. Maybe it's the same guys, but they're just catching fire. Their coaching staff is turning things around. So for that reason, I am going to choose Baltimore City. But man, I think it's going to be a close game either way. I'm going to go 2-2 penalty kick win for Baltimore City FC over ACFC.
See, look, look, I'm not gonna fold to pressure either, but I am gonna pick Baltimore City. Um, I'm gonna pick Baltimore City for two reasons, right? I hope we're not jinxing them, by the way. ACFC, whether it's some MSI pro players or maybe two, it does. I don't know the roster. I don't know like how many other players actually are officially on the roster because I haven't seen their roster. Not a single match have I seen their roster, which is wild. But anyways, that's here nor there. I want to say Baltimore City because I've seen what Baltimore City can do when they're firing on all cylinders, right? I've seen this team. I see what they do. I saw the highlights that they posted. I just have a good feeling they just posted their win in the Maryland Majors in 2024, which seems so far away, and it really isn't. So I know this team can do good. So I'm gonna go with Baltimore City, and I'm gonna go a 2-1 victory for Baltimore City.
Yeah, I hope we didn't just jinx them too, because I think we all picked Slancha in the last one.
Oh no. I take it back. I take it
Sorry,
back.
Baltimore City, we ruined it. Prove
I
us
take it
right,
back. I
please.
take it back. Oh, that's too funny. All right, let's do I think for the Stewart Cup, do you want to do the Stewart Cup pick? You know what? Let's do the Stewart Cup pick and then come back to it after this weekend because we
All
might
right, we'll
change
do
our
a quick
mind after
Stewart
we see
Cup. I mean,
Christos.
I'm taking Christos. I think 3-0 Christos. I still think that even though they both qualified, Christos winning that state cup TOA title is still so important to them, and if they want it, they'll get it. Like that's my belief. It's just they're that level. Christos, I mean, Steel Das Beer Hall, I think will have a little bit of a better showing. I mean, they lost 5-0 in the MDV Cup to Christos. I think they'll have a little bit of a better showing, but I think it's going to be tough to pull a result against Christos right now.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this is like as much as they're probably really want to win the MDV Cup. This is probably the one they're really going to want because they want that. Well, they already qualified for the National Amateur Cup, so they're probably just want another notch on their belt. So, but I am going to say Christos. I don't know what the score line is going to be. I don't think I could put a score to this one, but I am going to say Christos.
Uh,
I do hope that Das Beer Hall pulls out a miraculous win because
Another
that would
miracle.
just be phenomenal. I
Yeah,
would not stop talking about it until next Stewart Cup, but I do think it's going to be a Christos win.
let's go
Uh,
MDV Cup.
yes, let's wrap up with MDV Cup. MDV Cup. Let's start with the game you will not watch, Ristosi versus the G and Hawks. And now, if you pick a G and Hawks, or if
Let's
you
do
pick
let's do so people don't get confused. Let's do chronologically, great, because we're going to be 11 a.m.
sure,
Crystal Steel
sure, sure.
Pulse. Yeah.
You just want to pick Christos and Steel Pulse first. It's fine. It's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. All right, go for it.
I mean, there's too many question marks around Steel Pulse. Are they good? Are they not? Right? And the reason I've given the accolades, aside from their talent, is just their consistency for Christos. So I'm gotta pick. It's too much of a risk to take Steel Pulse right now. 3-1 Christos, but there's I don't know. It's like you see the fantasy football when you choose the players. There's the probability category. There's like the probability of winning is low for Steel Pulse, but then they have like this big squiggly line on the side that like the distorted probability because they can do. There's so much potential upside, but
It's the
yeah,
outliers.
yeah, the outliers. Thank you. That's what I
It's
was
the
thinking of.
outliers. I'm laughing because it's so true, right? Like there's so many questions around Steel Pulse and their performance and their mentality and how they're going to go into this game. And then you have another side, you have Christos, who you know how they're going to perform, you know how they're going to play. There is no question about that. So it's like the consistency. Do I pick consistency or do I pick a surprise? I'm playing Christos. I'm gonna put on my best showing. So it's so tough. It's really tough. But I think I'm gonna agree with you. I am gonna go Christos. I'm gonna keep it close because I think this is going to be a very exciting game. So I'm gonna say 3-2 Christos.
Yeah. Yeah, I could. I mean, I think I'm making this pick with like part of me hoping that I get proven wrong, but it's it's
It's
just right
tough.
now a lot of questions. But I do think you touched on this. I do think Steel Pulse, if all their games, this is that they got to bring their best. It's in Maryland, right? They don't have to travel away. They've already been knocked out of the Stewart Cup, right? And it's Christos. It's Christos. Need I say more? This should be a great showing. I don't think there's any excuse for why they shouldn't be able to pull on their full roster depth and make this one a special match.
I 100% agree, and I hope to the Lord and Savior that this game does not go one sided.
Yeah, yeah,
All right, so let's do the last game of the weekend, which is going to be Ristosi versus Aegean Hawks.
yeah.
Which I'm gonna pick first because I always put you on the spot. I am. I hate to pick against Aegean Hawks again. Um, I would hate to pick against Aegean Hawks
I
again, but
I feel like I can't even though
no,
you
hold
are
on, because if you're going to Aegean Hawks, that completely changes everything because you are their good luck charm. You have to pick against them in order to win. I'm gonna go Ristosi. I'm gonna go Ristosi 2-1.
look look. This I really think is where it stops for more reasons than one for Aegean Hawks. Like they're traveling early in the day on a Sunday. Usually they play late, right? It's a slightly older roster. Um,
Here he goes. Here he
yeah,
goes, giving them fire.
they have to go up to Maryland and play in a completely different environment, at a completely different time. They have to play against a young side that's playing NPSL ball that's been knocking the tar off of all the competition they've faced through this competition. They have legs. They have Division One college players, et cetera, et cetera. Oh man, but but I've thought this way before. I've thought that this is where it ends for the Hawks. I picked against them in the group stage. I picked against them in the quarterfinals. I've seen what the veteran abilities, what their veteran, you know, experience has given them in these big games. And I think because they've gone thus far, got to go Hawks. 2-1 Hawks
Oh
on the
no.
road. The GN Hawks are coming up to Maryland. And then, of course, because I've made this pick, sorry, Hawks, that you're. I don't know if they're able to travel, right? If they're able to travel, um, and bring the full depth of their roster, and put in, the same level of play that we've seen. I don't know. I mean, it's a question mark for me, but
Hey, I would not mind an Aegean Hawks Christos final. Those are two historic sides going at it. That would be
yeah,
so good to watch. For sure. For sure. Neither would I mind a Ristosi Christos rematch. So I think either one would be a very fun one. I just wrote off Steel Pulse, by the way.
man, I
My
feel
bad.
I feel like that's one where I can't go right. If I pick against Hawks again, I'm going down in the history books for what, four wrong picks against the same team in the same competition. But also picking against Ristosi right now just felt wrong to me, especially where the Hawks,
They're just playing so
there's
good.
so many eye openers, right? There's so many red flags for me. I'm conflicted on this one. I'm gonna lose real sleep over over this
It's too
pick.
late, Noah. It's recorded. It's
It's
live.
here.
It's
It's
out there.
live.
You put it in the ether.
Yeah.
It's he picked the Geo and Hawks. Now Geo and Hawks is gonna be like, oh, now we don't need to perform because Noah's on our side, and it's just gonna it's just gonna go left. But that wraps up what will be this weekend. I know you wanted to touch on the world of soccer here in Maryland, or sorry, in the United States before we signed off here. But do make sure you check out all the MDV Cup games because they are going to be streamed here in the channel. So make sure you hit that subscribe and go to the games and hit that notification bell so when it goes live you catch it, because we will be streaming both of those games. Unfortunately, we would not be streaming the final for the Norton Cup, but I do believe Baltimore City will be. So
Although, is that tomorrow?
that is the 23rd. Yes, tomorrow.
I gotta make a phone call after this because, as I understood, last season we were streaming all of the Cup finals, including the Morton Cup, but I've heard no words on that from. I gotta make a
Okay,
phone.
maybe I just
So
caused the
big.
conflict.
No, no. I mean, that's a good thing. We can make it work. We can figure this out. But yeah, just big asterisk there. Just stay following the page. Stay following the channel.
Yes.
You gotta subscribe. Gotta subscribe.
Yes. Because we are supposed to be streaming all the finals. That's a good point. Yes. Just make sure you follow us on our social media because I'll update it there, or Noah will update there on what games are going to be streamed tomorrow. Uh, Noah, do you want to touch on anything before we sign off here?
Yeah. I saw a question in the chat from Mert. It said, "Noah, be honest. Would you pick Prime WPL or VSSL and MSSL?" So I'm assuming if you're combining MSSL and VSSL, and you're talking, we'd have to clarify what Prime WPL is, right? Because I did get to play in the WPL, several years ago when I would. It's not a controversy to say it was stronger than it is now. It's
Oh,
a
how
little bit gone.
could you? No, I'm kidding.
It's gone downhill, quite more than a little bit. But yeah, the, just for context, back when Yins, were playing at their highest, Aegean Hawks were, attending national championships. There were a bunch of teams throughout, historic teams playing in the league. It was really competitive. Um, I obviously have a bias here, but I am going to choose MSSL, VSSL, just because um, there are teams that in both conferences that have played in that kind of like, national level in NPSL, Open Cup, National Amateur Cup. Pulse has been, through several stages. Haven't won a National Amateur Cup, so looking at you at GN Hawks. Maybe that's 1.1 for Prime WPL, but I just think as far as the depth of the league, that at points, I'll have to point to MSSL VSSL, which is the Super League. Now, I will put the caveat that maybe I didn't get to see Prime WPL in those days. So,
I
but
did.
did you? You
I
answered this one then.
I did because I actually at the time when Prime WPL was happening, Prime Maryland Majors was happening, and I was writing for Protagonist Soccer, and I did interview Yings. I interviewed Fighting Bobs. I interviewed Aegean Hawks. I interviewed Christos. I did not get the chance to interview Steve Pulse, but I did do some stuff with World Class Premiere. So I got to see Prime W when there was no other leagues, right? It was just WPL and the Maryland Majors, and then there was the Mason Dixon's Soccer League in Western Maryland. So I got to see all that, and it was towards the tail end of my playing career, and I did get to play my final days in the Maryland Majors, and I'm telling you, those were some good teams, very good teams. However, here's the big however. I don't think I think the national acolytes are great and all that, but I feel like the National Amateur Cup has gotten so much harder. It's so much harder to get to and so much harder to win. So we might not see many teams that aren't historic sides or aren't like really pouring time into to winning it, win it. So it's a tough thing. But I'm gonna go because Christos did make the switch to Super Soccer League. Steel Pulse made it. Dreams there. Like I'm gonna go Super Soccer League.
Yeah,
I really appreciated the WPL and what it was and where it was at the time. I mean, watching Yings play Christos in the for the qualifying for Amateur Cup was phenomenal back in those times, and it was some great matches. I only have seen those matches get better and more competitive, so that's why I'm gonna go with the younger league.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely interesting kind of controversy bait conversation to get going because I'm sure there's people out there who feel really strongly one way or another. Um, but yeah, good question, Mert. I do want to talk on very briefly before we head out. The big change coming to U.S. soccer, which is we touched on it earlier. USL implementing a tier one professional league, and then of course before then even promotion relegation, a real path towards promotion relegation. They haven't detailed all of the specifics of how it's going to work. They're still going through, if I'm not mistaken, they're still going through their governor meetings with their different league representatives and potential new entrants into the league. But it's out there now. They can't go back on it, and it sounds like this time it's a lot more than lip service. They've been kind of hinting towards that. Been hearing these rumors, but it seems like it's too public now for it to just be something they can just put back in the bottle, the genie back in the bottle kind of thing. And I am totally patient on it. I don't. The long time horizon doesn't bother me one bit because this is not England or Germany. This is a huge nation with a lot of different teams with different economic situations. And I understand it's going to be really difficult, right? The opponents to promotion relegation don't say, oh, that's a bad idea. They say it'll never happen because of the logistical barriers, right? That's the reality of it. And I'm not anyone who knows me as knows I am the first person when a new idea gets brought up. I'm the first person to poke holes in it rather than I'm not a dreamer. I'm a super pragmatic guy, but it's not that I don't like new ideas. I often will agree with a new idea, but I'll want to see what could potentially be the problems with it down the road.
Right.
And I'm I love that they're putting a longer time horizon towards it because it's going to be an auspicious and audacious project. But doing that simultaneously with announcing they're saying it's not a competing, like when they were interviewed, they said it's not a competing league with MLS. I
Soccer
mean,
Wars, baby.
how can you not be? It's another Division One professional league. But I love the like kind of like sneaky, cheeky answer, like, no, it's not a competing league, wink wink, like we know. But doing that at the same time as announcing promotion relegation, like you've immediately attracted a whole segment, myself included. I'll never watch an MLS match anyways right now for
It's
my
on
own.
it's on Apple Plus. Apple Plus. I don't have that. I don't even have an Apple
I
Plus.
have Apple Plus, but I have that part like taped, blocked shut. So when my TV turns on, I can't see that part of Apple TV now. Yeah, it's a great move. I think it's a super exciting move that could very much affect even some teams that we know and cover down the road. And, if they're able to get the right financial backing, looking at you, all these teams, and it's a great pitch if you're a team with the high aspirations um, to maybe go and get some sponsors because it could give an avenue to some incredible visibility and some incredible growth.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a good idea. I think my biggest question is, while it's great that they're building the pyramid up, like what is that pyramid from League One to League Two, and what is under, right? Because like that's a big jump. I mean, like teams really need to establish themselves sustainably from entering League Two to jumping to League One, right? Once they're in League Two, I think that's a big difference, but it's very hard to go from zero to League Two.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where my head is at. It's like what's going to be built underneath League Two, or how is League Two going to help teams get to a position where if they do get that promotion from League Two into League One, they'll be successful. So that's where my head's at.
Yeah. You know
Maybe
any
Super
leagues
Soccer
that could
League.
help fill that role?
That's what
only there was some strong, league in the Maryland, Virginia area that was helping to prepare teams for the next level.
You
I'll keep
know,
an eye out.
just keep an eye out on how things shape up here. Anyways, everyone, thank you for joining. We appreciate you for taking the time on your Saturday to listen to us rant and talk about the sport we love here in the DMV area. If you are not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button, comment, noti bell, share this, and hit the definitely hit that noti bell for tomorrow's games because we will be live streaming. And stay tuned on the Baltimore City final versus ACFC. Noah, anything before we sign off here?
No, don't forget to like and subscribe, people. Keep an eye out. We will see you on the live stream for tomorrow. And yeah, have a good evening.
Sounds good. Everyone, have a good night. I hope it looped.